Yeah, I'm recording now.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming back or joining if this is your first time. And all those who are doing this on the video, welcome. So yeah, this class is just half an hour of gentle stretches. We're not doing a yoga class. We're not doing any, difficult poses. This class is just designed to keep those muscles flexible and mobile, making sure we're not seizing up if we've been sat at a desk too long or just in any one position. With all the stretches, make sure that if you feel uncomfortable or if it hurts, don't push. And if there's something that you know that you can't do because of an injury or it hurts, then either just rest or repeat a stretch that you know you can do. So we're going to start at the top and work our way all the way down. I'll be giving both seated and standing options. For most of the stretches, they're the same, but where they differ, I'll explain them. But yeah, we'll just get started now. So if you just come up onto your feet, if we're standing, we want to have that neutral position, feet hip shoulder width apart, nice straight back, and we want to feel like the puppet string is drawing us up, making us as tall as possible. If we're seated, we've got our feet flat on the ground, like this, nice bend in the knee, and we're either resting our hands on our lap or by our sides, and we want to feel that puppet string pulling us all the way up. So like I said, we're going to start at the top. So to start with, I just want you to allow your head to sink towards the right shoulder, just gently feeling that stretch along the outside, along the left side of the neck. And we're going to come up to the middle and allow it to drop to the other side. The left ear sinking towards the left shoulder. And come back to the middle. And now I want you to let your head sink down, so your chin is on your chest. If we're seated, just the exact same. We're just feeling that stretch in the back of the neck. And then we're going to lift up, chin up towards the sky. And we're going to do those 4 again. So to the right shoulder. And to the left shoulder. Chin onto our chest. And up to the sky. And then we want you to hold that, looking up at the sky, and take a big, deep breath in. And we're going to stretch out those palms and just clasp our hands above our head, stretching, reaching up high, and just trying to elongate our body as long as possible. If we're seated, just the same, reaching up, really stretching out the body, and a deep exhale. And come back down. And now for this next one, it's the exact same if you're seated or standing. I want you to take your left hand, cross it over onto that hip, and we're just going to unwind with our right hand, stretching it out straight as possible, and we're bringing it all the way over into a side bend. So here we can really feel the stretch in the outside of the right side of the body. We're not sinking forward or backwards, we're keeping that line really straight. We're feeling that stretch. For these stretches, sometimes you may have to stretch further or less than me to feel it. It's just completely up to you, listen to your body. And a big breath out. And we're going to swap over. So take that right hand, cross it over to the left hip, and then we're going to unwind with that left hand, reaching it all the way over, and feeling that stretch. When we're seated, we want to feel the weight through both of our sitting bones. So I'm not leaning so far that my weight comes up, my left foot comes up. We want to keep those feet flat on the ground, nice and balanced. And big breath out, and back to normal. So what we've done so far is some stretching exercises, and now we're going to do 2 mobility ones. These are 2 of my favourite if you've done this class before. So the first one we're going to do is the exact same for seated and standing. So I just want you to lift up those arms 90 degrees and keeping those feet flat on the ground facing forward. We're just going to twist and hold from one side to the other. When you do this, I want you to concentrate and imagine each of your vertebrae turning. This one is quite good for mindfulness as well. And just keep that breathing nice and even as you go. Making sure that we're trying to keep those hips facing forward and just turn our torso. Then we can start to engage a bit of a stretch as well. If you're seated, because of the way that your hips are, you won't be able to get quite that 90-degree angle, so we're just going to aim for that 45. So we're just going to twist from side to side. I want you to make sure if you're sitting, we're not cheating by just moving. We're keeping that movement really nice and controlled. So we're just going to do a few more to each side. Really concentrating on keeping that posture high, feeling really tall and proud. And then come back to the middle. And with a big deep breath out, we're going to stretch those palms out. Deep breath in, and we're going to clasp our hands above our head again. Really stretch. And come back to the middle. And now this next one is slightly different from seated to standing. So I'll show you standing first, and it's our hula hoop one. So I want you to do hands on your hips, and we're just going to start drawing circles with those hips. Now this one, what I want you to do is make sure you keep those shoulders and ankles in a straight line. And we're just moving our hips around that plane. So this one, if you have a mirror, or maybe you're able to see yourself in your own video screen, it's a good one. We want to make sure we're going both forward and backward, and try and draw some figures of 8s as well. We really want to keep those shoulders and ankles in a straight line. The circles can be as narrow or as wide as you like. And if we're seated, this one, what I want you to do is just in that neutral sitting position, allow those hands to dangle by your side, and we're just going to reach as though we're picking something up from the floor on either side, and we're just rocking over our hip bones, just reaching down. Go as far as feels steady. You know this one. You will feel a slight stretch engage. This one, we just want to make sure that we're keeping that mobility. So if you're sitting, carry on with that one. And if we're standing, I want to still get that hula hoop. This one is not about going as fast as possible. You want to try and concentrate on drawing a perfect circle, go forward and backward. And I want to include some figures of 8s in there as well. So we'll do a few more of these. And one more circle or side dip. And back to the middle. Just shake those arms out. Now this next one, I'm going to do a back stretch with you before we move down to the bottom half of the body. So for this one, it's really important. If you have any problems with your back or if it feels uncomfortable, please don't push it or force it. But for this one, what we're going to do is make slightly different seated and standing. So I'll show you standing first. But what I want you to do is reach those hands out in front of you. And we're going to draw a big, almost like a breaststroke pull, all the way until we clasp our hands behind us and straighten those arms. So you can see my arms are clasped behind my back, my arms are straight. Doesn't matter about the angle, so long as you can feel that stretch engaging in your upper arms, the back of the shoulders. We're just going to keep that and hold that. If you're seated, depending on the chair, your chair back might be in the way, which is preventing you from clasping your hands. So I just want you to start here and do a Superman pose almost. So don't worry about clasping those hands. Just keep those hands and fists straight out behind you. Really keeping that posture nice and tall. If we're standing, we're clasped. And now I want both seated and standing to release. Keep those arms straight. And just point them out in front. Stretch out. Basically the opposite stretch. But I want you to keep those arms up at 90 degrees. And just straightening. Hold this one for a minute. If we're seated, just the exact same. Out in front of us, like so. And then we're going to release. Big breaststroke pull all the way around until our hands clasp. Or if we're seated, we're just going to do that Superman pose. Nice and straight. Try and hold this one. Making sure we keep that good tall posture. And release. And we're just going to shake that one out. And now we're going to move down to the bottom half of the body. We've done our neck, we've done our arms, torso, a bit of mobility, a bit of flexibility and stretching. And now we're going to move down onto some core leg stretches and mobility exercises. So for this first one, if you're standing, I want you to take a step forward with your left foot, but we're not going to put our foot down. So my right foot is straight, my right leg is straight, flat on the ground. My left foot, I've taken a half step forward, and my toe is still pointing up. When you're in this position, you'll feel the stretch engage in the back of the calf. We're just going to hold this one. If you're seated, exact same. I want you to straighten that leg. I think you'll find it easier if you shift your weight forward to the front of the chair, because then you'll be able to straighten that leg. And we're just going to point that toe high. You can see when I'm seated, I'm able to point my toe higher than when I was standing. And I keep that good posture, and we're just going to hold this one. Feel the stretch in the back of the calf. Keeping that good posture. If we're standing, we're doing it like so. And just gently allow that foot to go back towards the ground. Slide it back in next to the right leg. Now we're just going to repeat on the other side. So take that half step forward with the right leg. Those toes are pointing high. And this one really engages in the calf. So if you have a tight lower leg, this is a really good one. Keep that stretch. And we're just making sure that with that back leg, it's not locked. It's just there's no pressure on our knees. Just nice and supportive. If we're straight, if we're sitting down, got that straight leg, toe pointing high. Just allowing the arms to rest on the bent leg, wherever feels comfortable. And then we're just going to slowly allow that foot to straighten and slide them both back in together. And now this next one is a slight variation on that, but it's going to target more of the upper leg, or thighs. So what I want you to do is start with the left leg, take that half step forward, but this time I want you to keep both feet flat on the ground. So I've got my left foot, out a step, in front of my right foot, both flat on the ground, facing forward. I'll demonstrate the seated one in a minute. And what we're going to do is we're going to allow that right leg, the back leg, to bend until our thighs become parallel, like so. And we're just going to sink into that stretch, placing our weight on our hands on that bent leg. So my left leg is diagonal, feet flat on the ground. My right leg is bent with our thighs parallel. And I'm keeping my weight over that bent leg, making sure we're never putting the weight on the straight leg. And I've just kind of folded my top half of my body over to engage that stretch in all the way down the left leg. So if we're seated, quite similar, but what I want you to do is just shift that weight forward. We're going to straighten that left leg, keep the right leg bent, and just lean over wherever feels comfortable to engage the stretch in the back of the leg. It's not important to point your toe if you're seated, you don't need to do that. Just wherever feels comfortable, wherever you can best engage the stretch. So similar to the standing, I'm leant over my bent leg, which is my right leg, and that left leg is straight where we're feeling the stretch. We're just going to hold this one for a moment before we switch over. This is a really good one. I can feel it all the way up my leg. It's important if we've been sitting or standing for any reason for a long time, stretch out those muscles, keep the muscles nice and elongated. And to finish, we're just going to lift up the torso and just allow the legs to slide back in next to each other. So we're going to do the exact same on the stretching the right leg. So if I'm seated, I'm going to allow that right leg to come straight, keep the left leg bent, and just lean my weight over, placing my hands to rest on that bent leg. I want to keep that back straight, we're not curving the spine. It's literally like we're folding on an angle to engage the stretch all the way up the right side. If we're standing, the exact same. Got my right leg straight, show you a side view. Left leg is bent, and I'm just leaning over to engage that stretch all the way up. Try and keep that chin up, we don't want to fold the chin down. We'll keep our chin and our chest up. Now it makes it easier to keep that back straight rather than allowing them to sink. So we'll just hold this one here. Just feeling nice, feeling that long stretch. And we'll just hold this one. We'll move on to some more mobility stretches. So just allow that top half to come up. Straighten those legs together. Just allow those to shake out a little bit. That one I could really feel it all the way up. And so now we're going to move on to some mobility ones, like I said. So to start off with, we're just going to start with some leg swings. So what I want you to do is, if you're standing, using something to hold on to, that's fine if you need that. Just shift the weight onto the left leg, which frees up the right leg. And we're just going to start swinging, trying to get that heel up 90 degrees behind us. Just gently swinging. You should feel those muscles working that we've just been stretching, really connecting that movement. And we're just focusing on keeping our breathing nice and even as we do. If you're seated, the exact same thing, but what I find easier is to come up onto tiptoes, like so, and just allow that to swing. As before, based on the kind of chair that you're using, you might not be able to get that leg all the way back. So just try and get 45 degrees in front of you, if that's better. And just coming up onto those tiptoes frees up that leg a bit more so you can get more of a swing in there. So if we're standing, just going to carry on with a few more of these before we swap legs. Making sure we keep that really good posture. It's better to hold on to something so you can make sure that you're concentrating on your posture rather than balance. And we'll do 2 more of these. 1, 2, and come back to neutral. And we're just going to shift the weight onto the right leg, bring up the left leg, just to start swinging this one. Trying to get that 90-degree angle behind us. Keeping that good posture. If we're seated, remember that little trick about coming up onto your tiptoes. Bring up the leg a bit more. And just start swinging like so. So just carry on with that one. Just making sure we get that good angle. We'll do a few more of these. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. So now we're going to come on to our last exercise, which is going to be our ankle rolls. So same thing again, using time to support if you want. Shift that weight onto the right side, breeze up the left leg, and we're just going to start drawing circles with our ankle and our toes. So making sure we're going both forwards and backwards. If we're seated, the way to do this is just stick out that leg in front of us and start drawing like so. We can do figures of 8 if we want. We can do circles, both clockwise and anti-clockwise. And then if we're standing, we're just going round like so. Making sure we keep that good posture. And just bring those legs back together. Freeing up that right leg to do the exact same thing. When we're going round, when the toes pointing high, you should be able to feel that stretch engaging in the back of the leg. And when we point our toe, you should feel it engaging the muscles in the front of the leg. So it's really about all of these movements that we do, just really concentrating on what muscles and joints we're using, what's being engaged, what's resting, and just really paying attention to feeling the stretch and feeling that relaxing our body and working and looking after our muscles. Perfect. So we'll just do a few more of these. And come back into centre. So that's all of our stretches in our class today. I'm going to give you 2 that I'm going to tell you about that I want you to go away and practice on at home. So these aren't 2 new ones. They've been done in classes before, but I don't incorporate them as stretches. I just give them ones for you for homework almost. So I just want you to cross over your leg. So this one is seated for everybody. I'm going to cross over that leg. And then we're just going to allow our body to rock forward. So I'm folding my body over my bent leg. This one is really good stretch for the thigh or the back. Might take a way to work up to doing it for the flexibility. We're just crossing that opposite leg and bending forward. And then the second one is slightly different. But what I want you to do is just take maybe a ball of socks or just something small on the ground and just work into picking it up with your feet and using your feet to pick it up. Might seem like a strange one, but it's really important for keeping that traction and the flexibility, mobility in our feet. So just another seated exercise. You just want to put something on the ground, small ping pong ball size maybe, or a ball of socks, and just use that. So those are your 2 to take away. But I hope that you all enjoyed that. Thank you for coming. I hope you're feeling relaxed and stretched after that. So thank you all for joining.
Thank you, Lizzie.
You're welcome. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that.
Thank you. We hope to welcome you back soon.
Hopefully. Thanks, guys. Hope you have a great day. Bye, everyone. Bye, Kathy. Yes, Bell House. Oh, no, I haven't done a Saturday recording. I mean, I would be happy to do that. Can you see that on the chat? That's something that we can definitely think about. I'll chat to them about it and we can let you know. But in the meantime, the classic one, that's a helpful one. But I'm happy to maybe write up for the website. I mean, this is stuff we can talk about separately, but I can write up neatly all of the sessions I've done because I've just scored them all. So that might be useful for you guys as well.
That sounds great.
Perfect. Of course, you're all welcome. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.